Welcome back to The Truth About Reverse. We've got a really special treat for you guys today. In today's episode, we are here talking to Kathy Armstrong. Kathy's a close personal friend of mine. She's also a realtor and has been in Central Texas for a long, long time. Today we're going to talk about retiring in Georgetown, Texas. And I brought Kathy to bring along to talk about some of the surprise gems that exist beyond Sun City. First, I want to get to know Kathy a little bit better. Kathy, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I love real estate because it gives me the opportunity to be with people at a transitional point in their life. Whether it's buying their first home, downsizing and going to something smaller, or upsizing and finding something bigger that accommodates their family. I think it's a really special place in relationship to step into people with people in transition. And oftentimes, buying, selling real estate comes at a time of transition.
Well, all of my clients are, in our world, we deal with seniors, and transition's part of life. Retirement, there are many different phases of retirement, and many different, each of those phases has different housing needs. So talk to me a little bit about the retirees that you serve and some of the work that you've done with the senior community.
So, like you said, everybody's needs are different, and I think that's the first thing that our job is to find out where people are and what they need. And then we can begin to look at where we move them to next. So recently, you and I just did a transaction with someone who was moving here from out of state and on a fixed income and owned his home outright in the other state. So we were able to help him transition to a new home here. He kept half of the cash that he made from selling his other home, and now he also has no mortgage payment, so he can live on his retirement income. And that is something for an 80-year-old man.
It really is, and I talk about that. I use the concept of positioning equity. And downsizing, when you're downsizing or upsizing, or in Leo's case, moving across the country, is a great time to look at the equity that you have in your home and reposition it. Whether it's take some of the cash and save it, whether it's eliminate that monthly principal and interest payment so you can reduce cash flow. So lots of opportunities, right? Yeah. But really, I think what binds us together is, for us, it's about helping our clients find their forever home, whether that's staying in their existing home and aging in place, or working with a realtor like you to help them find exactly the right home.
Right. And I think there are certain things to think about when you're transitioning to being in some place to aging in place. And so those are things that I think we can be aware of as realtor professionals and lender professionals to help you get in a community that might work for you. And I know today we wanted to talk some about Georgetown communities, and everybody immediately goes, oh, let's move to Sun City. And while Sun City is a fantastic community and there are lots of things to do, what I want to say is that that's not your only choice for aging in place. There are other communities in Georgetown, sometimes smaller with less activities, even some with very little HOA, but the houses are constructed in such a way and the community is 55 and above, so it becomes a place for you to think about.
As long as I've known you, you've always talked about these little pockets that exist, these tiny little neighborhoods that are very specific and very personal. And I want to touch on that for a second, because when we're talking about helping our clients find their forever home, that's a very specific need. And that's very specific needs in terms of neighborhood, in terms of services, in terms of location. All those things matter, and Sun City may not be right.
Right, Sun City might not be right. It may have a higher level of activity than you want as you age in place. It may have more traffic than you'd like. It may be a little bit further out than you'd like. But we have a lot of other choices in the Georgetown area. Some that are small pocket neighborhoods, but they're over 55 neighborhoods right along the main corridor. There's one in particular that's just, I want to say it does have a Georgetown address. Part of the neighborhood is in Round Rock. It's right on the border between Georgetown and Round Rock. It's called Heritage Vizcaya. Traditions is for the families. Heritage is over 55. I just wanted to talk about the fact that Sun City isn't your only option. You have lots of options, and all of them mostly feature single-story homes, of course, which is so important. The thing I love about Heritage at Vizcaya is its proximity to the Seton Hospital. So that's something that people don't always think about when they start to think about where am I going to age in place, how close am I to my doctors?
Yeah, those practical considerations are real. It's something that, I think many of my clients, especially at this stage in life, they get kind of stuck to, or the default is, we're just going to stay in our house. And they don't necessarily think about the practical realities of what it means to age in place and what it means to become frail and what it means to need doctors all the time.
Right.
So things like proximity to family, proximity to medical, proximity to transportation.
Transportation's a huge one. I mean, just speaking from experience with my mom, like she needs to go to the doctor, one of us needs to take her. And that's not a problem because we live close by. But what if you don't?
Right.
What if you're living somewhere where that's not an option? Is there public transportation? Do the communities offer something? There are all those questions to ask. The other one I think about a lot is your yard.
Yes.
So, I mean, everybody's like, oh, I can always just hire somebody to do the yard. But sometimes that's harder than it feels like it should be. So, there are communities where they do your yard work for you, or you have very small lots, so it's just a minimal amount of yard work.
It's funny, the yard work conversation. My parents are in this transitional phase, and we've talked about my mom and dad. And they're going to downsize, and part of the reason they need to downsize is because my dad loves to mow the yard. He gets a new riding lawnmower every 3 or 4 years, and he just goes on and on about it. But he can't really hear so well, and it's probably time for him to stop operating heavy machinery.
Yeah.
But I can't tell him that, right? It's a delicate conversation, but it's also a necessary one.
Yeah.
And so when we think about downsizing, we're thinking about the practical realities of, hey, we're going to give up an acre and give up the maintenance cost and the time, and we're going to move them into a place where somebody takes care of the yard. And that's actually really important. And this is one of a myriad of things that is important to our clients as we ask this very difficult question of what does it mean to age in place? And so I think it's having the ability to have that conversation with empathy, with knowledge and experience. And I think for you, Kathy, being such an expert in Georgetown, like we talked about, it's such a wonderful community.
It is.
And there's all sorts of different places to call home in Georgetown, and each one of them is a little bit different. And so I think, we talk about the default of, well, let's just go out to Sun City, but it's not that. Aging in place is subtle, it's nuanced. So Kathy, one of the reasons you and I work so well together is that we are both looking at retirement through a similar lens, but solving different problems, right? We both want our clients to be in their forever home. And a lot of times my clients come to me and they come to me to have the reverse mortgage conversation, thinking that the default is they're going to stay in this home because they've been here for 25 years, or in my dad's case, because he likes to mow the yard. But many times it comes out that, hey, they're not in the right house.
Right.
And this is where we need an expert like you.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about your process, about how you help your clients uncover that need.
I think we just begin to have a conversation, because that's the piece for me that I feel like so many people in my profession miss. And it's the most important thing that we do, is that we look to meet the needs of the client. No matter their age, but especially as they're looking to transition into retirement or a smaller home, that kind of thing.
We talk about this idea that, in our world especially, on both the financing mortgage side and the real estate side, we get hung up in transactions.
Oh, all the time.
And we know, especially with our clients, that this is not a transaction, it's a relationship. And a relationship is conversation. One of the things I do is I ask different versions of the same question of, hey, what does your ideal retirement look like? What do you want to do every day? Paint me a picture of what a perfect day would look like. And so you start to get those practical questions answered. They kind of get unwound. And the closer you and I can get to helping our clients paint that perfect picture, that's what's going to help us get them into the right home.
It is.
And whether that might mean staying in their home and remodeling. It might mean moving and downsizing. Maybe it means moving and actually upsizing. And they can use the reverse mortgage strategically in any of those cases. And so when you put the two of us together, and that we are both serving the needs of our clients by helping them find their forever home, you by helping them find that place, and me by helping them finance it, helping them position that equity. It's a really powerful team, and we each have our clients' best interests at heart.
Right. And I think sometimes people don't realize the options that they have
Right.
until they sit down and have a conversation about what options there are. I mean, we have tons of houses in Georgetown that have casitas. Do y'all know what a casita is? It's like an accessory dwelling unit or a separate little house with a living room, kitchen, and bedroom. It's either attached to the home or just right outside. So if you have an older family member, that could be a perfect choice for you. I mean, we have lots of choices, and I think part of it is just the conversation so that we can see where you want to be and we can talk about how to get you there.
That's exactly right, Kathy. Well, Kathy, I am so grateful to be working with you and to call you my partner, my friend. If you need to contact Kathy, her contact information is in the description, and also her website is right across the screen. Feel free to reach out to her at any time. And of course, my contact information is always going to be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Until next time, keep on learning the truth about reverse.
Thank you.